Collective, thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome into the channel. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to look at the weekly energy for this week via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come through. So let's get into it. We are in the midst of Sagittarius season. Sagittarian energy is all about expansion, growth, like really kind of like coming out of our shell or like moving beyond limitations. The seeker of self. Those were the cards that I pulled like walking into this reading, just kind of like preparing. You know, things are a little bit messy right now. We have a lot of planets in retrograde going on. We just have come from Scorpion season, sorry. Does it? Sorry, I'm like hearing things, the train horns going off in the background. You know, there's just a lot, right? And I feel like the name of the game lately has been so much about just like kind of settling our mind, our soul, finding that balance. I'm a huge proponent of this. I'm not great at it. I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, I'm probably a little like ready for the next thing at all times. But as I'm getting older, as I'm navigating life, I'm recognizing the value of just like slowing down a little bit, the value of patience, the value of just like tempering our forces. We don't need everything yesterday, right? Like sometimes, or actually a lot of time, there's so much value in the journey, the movement that we're moving through. And when we take a step back to kind of honor that or learn from it or recognize it, it actually helps us out way better in the long run. And I feel like that's what this... So we have a lot of planets in water signs. Those water signs, that emotion, that intuition is really being heightened. Neptune is in Pisces in retrograde right now as well, continuing to affirm the places that not only do we need to listen to our intuition, but our emotions. You know, like sometimes things aren't horrible, but they might not be right for us. And I think there's a lot of value. I think there's a lot of learning lessons all across the board on these types of situations that are coming into our life, especially right now. We're in the midst of the holiday season. Life gets busy, it gets crazy, etc., right? And so we kind of just have to figure out how we can temper our forces. That's been a main theme this week. Check out the Sunday Fun Day reading or, you know, any of the readings that are popping up this week. Temper those forces, right? Like you don't have to use all your weapons at one point, so to speak. And again, I'm not saying any of this is easy because it really kind of requires us to be introspective. It requires us to be aware. But Ayurveda looks at the awareness component as the first step to kind of like finding balance and equilibrium. If we don't even know what the F is going on, then like how can we connect with balance, harmony, fulfillment, etc.? So that's why I like to start off with these energy cleansings, just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places we might feel blocked or stuck. I want to say as well, side note, like I'm open if you want to drop comments below, ask some questions, general questions, I'll say. We'll do a more specific reading down the line, so to be tuned, or stay tuned. Sorry, to be tuned, maybe, but stay tuned for what is to come. Tonight, we're just going to focus on the weeklies. Like I said, I'm more than welcome to, you know, have you guys kind of participate if you feel so led. No pressure any which way. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you're interested in just like a rebalancing of self, your mind, body, soul, which we all need at points, at times in life, right? I'm totally happy to help assist. Definitely hit me up. I do energetic healing, pranic healing, or Ayurvedic wellness consultation. Sorry, I don't know why I'm tripping over my words. I'm getting a little nervous. Bear with me. There might be something that you're like a little bit hesitant around this week. We'll talk about this a little bit more. The astrology is kind of complementing that. In regards to maybe seeking something that's a little new, that gives you those butterflies in your stomach, so to speak, that might not be something you're expecting, but it actually like pops up in your realm and it's like, ooh, this is exciting. So we'll dive into that a little bit deeper. But like I said, if you're interested in any of my services, all the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into this. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so that we may see and understand the messages clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels, Mama Love. Ooh. All right, so I'm kind of hearing there's like a little bit of an arrogant force working around you right now. I don't know if this is like stubborn energy. I'm just kind of picking up like something that's like making you feel small, making you feel limited. As I'm saying this, this came through in our Sunday Fun Day reading. Sunday Fun Day readings are all about abundance. And right now we're really focusing on places where we can kind of disconnect from that, specifically because there's a lot of changes happening. Even if we're not seeing these massive changes in our life, we're like, it's happening underneath the surface. There are things that we know are going to either happen in the future, or like maybe we're still kind of dealing with the repercussions of the past. That type of energy. And when I'm looking at the astrology this week, well, things are easier moving into the week. We're having an easier time dealing with what's happening in our life. But there is a lot of surface tension. That's what I've noticed. Things that, like, again, maybe aren't ideal. It's not something that like we want to be happening in this present moment. But at the same time, we're kind of giving a hall pass because of all the factors, right? There's like a lot of components. And I think all of us are in this waiting game. As I'm saying that, stillness. Sorry, I didn't see this card, which is kind of how it goes. But I love confirmations of spirit. We're not seeing a lot manifest present day, right? Like there's just a lot that's working behind the scenes, so to speak. And I think that we are all in this position to kind of figure out like how our energy is landing, the things that we're actually investing into. Does it make sense, or is it falling flat? It looks like you've needed to clear out a lot of people, places, and things, dynamics. We've been talking a lot about this on this channel, but it's a rough go. And it's interesting. We're seeing this astrologically. I think there's not a lot of major transits that are happening that are really like hurting or hindering or pushing us in any which way over this month. It makes a lot of sense. We're in the holiday season. We don't necessarily want to be bothered with the BS, right? Like we're just trying to get through or like deal with the people we got to deal with or like whatever, you know. And none of that is good, bad, right, or wrong. It's not a bad thing. I see some things that are coming up midweek for you that you're like annoyed about. Stuff that you don't want to deal with. Stuff that you feel like I've been there, done that, you know? And I think this is specifically happening because you are further ahead than what you expect yourself to be or what others expect you to be specifically. You're practically working to cleanse things out, to remove obstacles, blocks that are in your life. I don't think that you're seeing a lot of feedback from this, like a lot of rewards, so to speak. I don't see that hindering you, though, either. I think you're just in this refinement process that's whether you're putting this on yourself or whether like the universe is, spirit, God, however you understand it, it's taking time. It's taking time to grow and develop. And that can be for a myriad of reasons. I would say don't take it personally. I don't think it's a personal thing right now. And I think that that kind of like manifests in the beginning, middle week for you, where you're like, okay, I'm trying to do things a little bit differently and yada, yada, yada. And then something else pops up that it's like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember this lesson, this experience, the way this thing felt. And now I have to deal with it again. We've been seeing this a lot in the collective. I'm sorry. I know it's kind of an annoying energy because it reminds us, yes, 100%. The cards never lie. Judgment. It reminds us to go back to the basics or whatever. Whatever this is. Back to the baseline. Back to like what our initial desire, intention is all about. If we don't do that, it can get like we can end up building on, it's like that proverbial house of sand, right? Something is kind of in that mode. I don't feel that that's your energy. Actually, I just like opened up to the Queen of Wands. All right. Someone doesn't want to backtrack. Someone's trying to move way quicker. You're picking this up a lot this week. It might be making you emotional. Like I'm hearing like someone's just like pushing you. It might not be unexpected, like is what I'm picking up. It might be something you're used to. Or like when you kind of like look at that person, you're like, oh yeah, this is of course what they're going to do. Or of course how they're going to deal with it. But to the best of your ability, you're still choosing to be mindful, like clear your energy or make sure that like you're clearing space for like whatever this is. Let's look. Okay. There's a lot going on around you this week. I feel like you're slightly annoyed or inconvenienced or whatever because you kind of just like want your peace 100% with this 10 of Wands. You want your peace. This feels repetitive. This feels like cycles that you're dealing with. People, places, and things that are doing the same things over and over and over again. And you're in this place where it's like, been there, done that, you know? And beginning of the week, we're not getting a lot of luck, I'll say. I mean, things are working in our favor, but it's almost like just things keep mounting as time goes on, right? Like, we can feel good to some capacity, but it's not affirming. There's something about this that doesn't feel very affirming. There's a lot of push and pull energy. There's a lot of action and then stillness. Or maybe not even any action at all is what I'm seeing, because our overarching energy is this stillness. And not just for that reason, but I think where you're taking proactive measures in your life is being intentional about the people, the situations that you're looking at, that you're like, okay, is this what I need in this time, in this place? Or is it just kind of fueling this disconnect or making me jump through all these hoops? I don't think this is an easy question for you to answer, because there are things that you're getting out of this. Not good, bad, right, or wrong. But it also looks like whatever your intuition is telling you, there might be more burden. There might be more stress down the line. I don't think you're seeing this present day, because whatever you're doing beginning of the week is helping you to feel a little bit more grounded in your space, right? Like you're taking it slow. Maybe you're not engaging as much with people or different energies, or especially energies that make you feel tired and overwhelmed and all this kind of stuff. You're taking a beat because you have your own things going on, and I think rightfully so. And it looks like it's setting you up in a way that you're going to be better situated to come. I feel like you're a little bit doubtful of that. Or whatever happens midweek, you're starting to question yourself, I'll say. Where are we seeing that? So we're seeing, it makes a lot of sense with how the astrology is playing out. Sun and moon are tensely aspected to the North Node, to Venus, to Mars, even the midheaven. So it's just a lot of, we don't want to look bad, you don't want things to come off in a certain way. Sometimes people, I don't know, there's a lot of different reasons for the energy that you're feeling or the energy that I'm picking up. It might be a little bit of ego. It might just be you just want people to validate you. And sometimes people cannot, right? And sometimes that is where the growth, the learning lesson is the most valuable. Unfortunately so. In an ideal world, everyone would have our back at all times, but it's just not the case right now. And you know that. It's making you stronger, but emotionally, it's not a fun reality. Because it's forcing you to step outside of the box. It's forcing you to connect with new people, new situations that perhaps you weren't really planning on doing, or, it's that value of when we think we have something in the bag, when we think we have something set in stone, and then we realize, no, actually not. And you actually have to go do more work. And that's never fun, right? It's never fun. But you're going to be inspired because as much as you're clearing out your energy, that's the other side we often don't see. When we clear out our energy, it exposes some of the BS, right? Or the things that we weren't paying attention to. And I feel like that's 100% why Spirit is bringing in some stillness this week. Why we can't have all the answers right in front of us. Because it is meant to ignite our passion, our desire, the hope or the potential for something new. And I think what is new has excitement around it. Let's look at this. there's a struggle. I don't know. Change is always difficult, but we're all in a time of change. That's the thing. We can't escape the change. And we kind of have to figure out like how we're going to deal with what is going on right now. Midweek, you have like a lot of vibrant energy. You're inspired. I'm seeing this especially through like Mars positively aspected to Chiron because it's getting it a little bit more. Mars is wanting to move. Mars energy, like we want things to happen. We want things to happen. But we're trying to be patient, right? And I feel like that, like I said, that Mars positively aspected to Chiron is giving us hope, or when we invest in what needs changing, it's like hopeful solutions. You might feel like it's falling flat or like you're getting really excited for the next best thing. And then it's like, oh yeah, like this is where we're at. You go back on that plateau, which it doesn't feel great, but it's actually really necessary, I think. Like I'm thinking about this book. It's called Mastery. It's a great book. Highly recommend it. And it talks about how most of life is on the plateau. And oftentimes, like when we level up or like when we kind of like hit that sweet spot and we're on to the next thing, those are the infrequent moments. Those are the things that don't happen at all times. And it looks like you're maybe in the middle of one of those things where you are leveling up, you are pushing forward. There is something, to be said about what is happening for you. But it's not easy. And as I'm saying this, I apologize. Hey, Karen. It's good. So good to see you. I'm seeing you're exhausted. And it is exhausting. I mean, I honestly hear this from so many people all across the board, any walk of life, any situation, circumstance. We're just in this time where astrologically it is exhausting because we're being forced to really commit. And that's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to say, like, I believe in this and I'm going to see it through. And especially when we have things challenging us back or saying a different thing or making us disbelieve ourselves, etc. I'm not saying when we're exhausted, take care of yourself. Slow down. That's the benefit of retrograde. And we have those 3 planets in retrograde. We've had Saturn, Mercury go direct. Mars is going to go into retrograde this month, I believe. Actually, let me look at that. I'm pretty sure that we had, or maybe it's the beginning of next year. But stay tuned because we still have a few more planets that are heading in that direction. And so why I'm saying this is because I think it's just like the places that we're feeling overrun or arduous, or it's just like none of the intention that we're putting forward is actually bearing fruit. It's not necessarily true. It's an illusion. That's what I'm hearing with this 10 of Swords. And I'm not saying that to like, don't discount yourself. Actually validate yourself. I think when we sit there and say like, hey, I'm really tired, or I can't do this anymore, this is too much, it actually gives us the platform to kind of like rework whatever we're doing to make it a little bit more feasible to our energy, to our needs, to our wants. 6 of Swords pops out. Life is transitioning, and it's moving forward. It is moving. It might be moving at a snail's pace right now. I don't think I'm the only person that's saying this. Like, I mean, I trust in what I'm saying, but I've also heard this as well, like via a lot of other YouTubers, tarot YouTubers, specifically tarot, astrology, etc. I don't want to just call it like a test or a challenge, but it kind of is that. Because whatever you're building, it's being slowed down. And not, again, because you're like doing something wrong. It's just collectively, we're being slowed down. Collectively, we need to understand why the changes are happening. We need to understand why something is not necessarily working for us. And another thing is 100% as I pull the Seven of Swords, which is all about sneaky energy. And the Seven of Swords comes up in our blocked energy. It's something that we're not prepared for. It's something that's bringing burden and stress and overwhelm. And as I'm saying this is like the key. This is the key right now to recognize where this is coming from. Free reading. Okay. Hey. Okay. I don't know what that means. Zoo Fire Hat. Hey. Thank you for being here. What do you mean by free readings are available on your channel or like something you're doing? Let me know. Keep me posted. All right. So we're at Seven of Swords, Ten of Wands. We'll wrap this up in a minute here. See what else. Balance this out. Temperance energy. And the Knight of Cups. Okay. I think you're getting like a lot of intuitive confirmation as the week plays out. It's stuff that like maybe is not as okay, so Zufri, you can totally email me. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. I'm not going to do anything personal while I'm live in this reading, maybe in the future, but I'm totally down for general questions. So if you want to, we're about to wrap up, but definitely, yeah. If you're interested, I'll definitely like answer whatever questions you have present as long as they're general, but we will do something a little bit more, I think I'd mentioned this. Sorry, I'm like tripping over my words, but I'll schedule something down the line that I can answer more specific questions. So I lost my train of thought. I'm going to go into this oracle. All right. I'm going to close that out with one oracle. I'm going to read from the book. Bring our reading home. Okay, and we get Asamam. I don't even know what that is. I love this book. It's a great, I say this every time, so. It is the periodic elements. Okay. And I'm not like great with those, but I never excelled in that part of schooling. But I love the idea. Well, actually, this book is amazing. Like the deck is amazing. It's like all right. Awesome. Contaminated from the start by a pungent, ashy smoke, conception, and restricted by rarity, obscure, hardened asimum, is the periodic table's Captain Dunsel. Continually replaced by others who perform better and are easier to find, asimum struggles to reach his potential. However strong and dazzling he might be, His congenital scarcity has gradually eroded his place in the world, fundamentally limiting his freedom as he struggles to remain relevant. It symbolizes obsolete, old school, outdated, insufficient, surpassed. And I think this is so much of like what you're dealing with, right? Like this outdated energy. We've talked a lot about this at this channel. The places that your intuition is really just saying like it's time to let go. It's time to evolve into something new. I think it's difficult because there's still so much of like whatever that energy is that's old, that is outdated, that's still kind of infiltrating you. And it doesn't need to be that way, but we also have to work consciously with that energy so we can release it, so we can let go, and so we can open up to the new. And I feel like that's why the new maybe isn't manifesting. I think it's manifesting a lot in the background for you right now. I think there's a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes. And I feel like that's part of like what this week is all about, or we've seen a continuum even from last week. Like, don't get too hell-bent on things working out in a certain way, because they're kind of just like taking this natural path, this natural order. And a lot of times we're left with stillness or places that like we don't have answers, we don't have solutions. And that in and of itself is a valuable learning lesson, not just because you don't have the answer, but it gives us an opportunity to kind of like self-discover and go within and figure out like where we're at, how we think, how we feel about our experience. We don't give ourselves enough time to process, is what I'm hearing. And when we don't process, it does keep us disconnected from what we truly want, what we truly desire. And you so deserve that, right? You so deserve that. So thank you so much for your time, energy, always. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. I apologize if I didn't answer specific questions, but like I said, we'll definitely do that in the future. I'm just trying to get myself up and running in a way that's like a little bit more systemized for me, like I was doing a lot before. I'm trying to part it down so I can have a little more balance in my life and give you guys content that's actually like worthy and valuable of you or what you want. So keep me posted. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for your time, energy, always. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a great evening, and I will talk to you soon. All the love and blessings your way.